Hello, this is our cooking day. This is Rostan Ibnu Anes and me, Richard Larish. We're going to do our first cooking video, and we'll take you through the ingredients. We're making stuffed paratas with keema, I do believe. So let's take you through the ingredients. We have 5 chopped onions. We're making a lot today because we're going to make a big batch. Some dried curry leaves, garam masala, mild curry madras powder, some brown mustard seeds, salt, pepper, any mixed vegetables. You can use fresh mixed vegetables, but we use frozen. Mince, which we just sweated off with salt and pepper, and the herbs and spices we're going to use that we've already prepared are either grated or finely chopped, whatever that is. I remember it. Ginger
and garlic. This one's
cardamom seeds and some stock cube
and lemon
juice. Okay. Here we have 5 very, very large. When I say large, I'm talking jacket potato size potato, chopped to this size and cooked in water until just soft, so that it leaves a little bit of hardness to the potato. You'll know when it's cooked. So just ready to there, so that it goes into the mix with turmeric and salt and pepper. And we'll show you what to do. When I said slightly hard potatoes, what I was saying was, if you take one out and it's still got its form, but if you can see, you can squash it just like that, so it stays slightly hard when you put them in the paratha. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to drain the potatoes. I should have had this out already, but it doesn't matter. We're going to drain the potatoes. Hopefully enough of the turmeric will stay on the potatoes into the sink, and then leave them to drain, ready to go into the mix when we finish cooking the rest of it. We'll take you through the next stage shortly. Into a pan I've poured about 3/4 of a cup of olive oil, and wait for the heat to come a little bit, and then what we're going to do, we're going to add some of the spices we showed you earlier, i.e. we're going to add the curry leaf, cardamom seeds, the garlic and the ginger. We save the stock for a little bit later. Okay? So the reason we're doing this is to get the oil flavoured, so that when we put in the onions, the oil will flavour the onions as well as everything else. But don't have this too hot so that it browns the garlic or the onions. You mustn't brown the food. So we'll sweat that for about a minute to a minute and a half, and then the onions will go in. So we'll bring you back to us when we put the onions in. Just adding salt and pepper to this, because I forgot to add it, as I always do with cooking. But remember, you can always add it to the food afterwards. You can't take it away, so don't put too much in. Right, now we're going to add the onions, as we have a nice hot pan. But as I said, nothing's browned off. So now we'll add the onions. When you chop the onions, sort of finely chop, but not too fine, because you want them to stay a little bit chunky, so that it gives you the texture of the food, and you maintain that texture of something nice that you're eating, and not too much mushy. And what we do, we will stir this, and what we're doing now is we're sweating off all this ingredients, so it's just cooked. And I've added salt and pepper to this, don't forget, about a teaspoonful of salt to a teaspoon and a half, and 1 teaspoonful of pepper. But don't forget, you can always add more at the end. So as you'll see, that's now gone what we call glacé, and we're going to let that sweat down now. So we'll bring you back to us once we sweat. Okay, we're going to add the garam masala now. Now 2 reasonably heaped teaspoonfuls of garam masala. This gives you the unique flavour of this dish that I find. And again, you can always add a little bit more at the end, but you can't take it away, so don't add too much. Then we're going to add mild madras curry powder. For this one I put 3 tablespoonfuls. Okay? And if you want to use hot curry powder, you can, and you can even add some chilies or ground chilies to this to give it some bit of a kick. also we're going to add the mustard seeds. I'd say just about that many, okay? Maybe just a few more, because we're doing a bigger mix than we're used to here, so, alright? Hope you saw that anyway. Okay, the ingredients I just put in are the herbs and spices. We're just going to stir this round now. Give it a nice stir. And this is the final cooking process before you add the rest of your ingredients. So we're now going to bring this down so it's just cooked. Once this is cooked, you'll know it's cooked because it sinks a little bit and the onions become soft. But if you get all the herbs and spices in, all the flavours combined to give you a unique stuffed paratha taste. Okay, so we've now got everything sweating down. You can tell it's all sweating off nicely. Now we're going to add the vegetables, frozen vegetables, into the dish. And I said I've only just literally heated them up and defrosted them. I've left them uncooked because it gives you that lovely crunchy texture taste to it when you eat it. I'm trying to give you some light here. Okay, and we're going to put the stock cube in that now, which is here. One stock cube, it's beef stock cube. If you wanted to do vegetarian, now's the time to add the potatoes, if you want to do vegetarian one of these. And we advise that you add a very large or 2 medium leeks to it, because obviously cooked, because it will give you that nice taste as well. That would be the vegetarian one, but we're not doing vegetarian today. So that's that, that's the vegetables. Next we're going to add the minced beef. Now I didn't drain the mince when I cooked this because I wanted the oils from the meat to go into the dish. And don't forget the salt and pepper we put into this as well at the same time. So all these flavours are going to combine to give us a nice stuffed paratha. Okay, you can freeze this mixture down as well. What I do is I freeze it right down into plastic containers, into these like food takeaway containers, and freeze it down, take one out of the fridge at a time. It makes about 5 to 6 stuffed parathas depending on how hungry you are, or they're also really good for packed lunches because I just cook them off and I move them. We'll do the cooking procedure of the actual paratha after we've done all this. And now finally we're going to add the potato. The potato I've kept hot because obviously you don't want to put a cold ingredient into a hot pan, otherwise the whole thing will just not work properly. That's the potatoes gone in. And now I'm just get a bigger wooden spoon and we give it all a good final stir. It's on a very low heat now so as it doesn't catch on the bottom of the pan. And this is your final ingredient. So we'll now stir that in, and when I've finished stirring it in you can come back and you'll see the finished product. The final ingredient we're going to add is some lemon juice. Now I don't know why they put lemon juice or lime juice in it, but they do. So it can go in at the last thing, and approximately a tablespoonful of lemon juice at the end. And there is your keema, your stuffed paratha filling. Okay, my cameraman has just taken a picture of me. Now the only problem we have with cooking stuff like this is the amount of washing up you have left. Which is the fun part, but anyway, what we're going to show you, I've got a large frying pan on here which is generally heating. I want to show you the parathas we use. It's any paratha really, but it's just plain paratha, okay? We've got our filling ready, we've got the paratha, it's starting to defrost now, so when it gets to that level you can work with it. So what we're going to do, we're going to put some oil on there so it doesn't stick, okay? Then we're going to put a little bit of oil on here so that the sides actually do stick, okay? Just leave that to finally finish off. What we're also going to do is oil the pan. Okay, now a lot of the cooks from Sri Lanka and all those areas won't do what I'm about to do, but I think it gives the outside of the paratha a much better texture and flavour. Is I salt the pan and some pepper, okay? You'll see the after effect of that very shortly. So the pan's getting nice and hot. And what we're going to do, we're going to fill the paratha now. Okay, just check that's perfect for folding. It is, okay. What you do, you basically take a spoonful. Now, as I said, you can make these as full as you want, but obviously you can only get so much into one paratha. and I do these for snacks for work. And
Yeah, Parata, yeah.
Parata, yeah. And I do these for snacks for work. They're brilliant in lunch boxes, and hopefully this will work. Okay, what we do, we take one edge and we make a triangle. Okay, so it's one edge, two edge, bring it across so you end up with a point. Okay, and then we bring the third edge across the top, and it should hopefully make the perfect triangle. Some of the parathas I've found have a different flavour, some have a different taste, but that's your triangle. What you actually get when you go to some of the takeaway shops is you actually get, you'll get this effect, and this is so that you can cook the sides as much as you can, the filling. Okay, then what we do, we lift it into the frying pan. Don't forget, you can actually cook 5 or 6 of these at a time depending on the size of the stuffed parathas you want to make, and then we just let that cook, and you've got it nice and brown. We'll turn it in about a minute or so, and we'll do the other side, and then what we will do, we will try and do the edges without burning our fingers. Okay, so hopefully you've enjoyed our cooking video. Stuffed keema paratha, I do believe. You can speak Russian, you know. It won't hurt, but he's doing the video, he's the cameraman today, so just keep it oiled so it's nice and brown. We've seen some people actually make this dough today on a video, and what they've actually done is they've actually put the dough in balls in oil for 10 to 11 hours. Quite why they've done that I don't know, but this is why I'm actually brushing it with the oil and pepper, because obviously it might have something to do with the cooking procedure, I don't know. Now to speed this up just a little bit, I will flip that over. I had the pan nice and hot, my filling was already hot. If the filling wasn't hot and out of the freezer, you can actually do them cold and cook them like you would, you know, anything in the frying pan. Just make sure the filling gets nice and hot, and then freeze them down, or refrigerate them down again, so that they cook thoroughly through. Otherwise, you might end up with a bit of a bad tummy. But I've already used a hot filling, so you don't need to do that. You just have to keep turning the frying pan up and down a little bit to get the right temperature. Please note, I've cooked all of this and my fire alarm hasn't gone off, because if you look up the top you'll see we serve dinner in here when the smoke alarm goes off. So we're all going hungry tonight because no fire alarm's gone off. So I should hopefully be able to turn this in the next few seconds. If you're making 3 or 4 of these at once, what you can do, you can actually stack them up in a stack in the middle of the frying pan, which will give you your stacking frying edge. As I said, try and do it without burning your fingers. Keep your pan, see if it starts to smoke, just turn it down a little bit, because otherwise it could easily burn. But we're just doing the edges now. You can actually get these in takeaways. Oh, when I put the lemon juice into the mix earlier, I then stirred it in. Don't leave it on the top. I forgot to do that. You need to put the lemon juice in and mix it in. The ingredients you can get for these parathas, and the parathas themselves, you can get in any of the Sri Lankan or Indian style food shops. The local one to us is in West Croydon, just down from the station. And hopefully that is your stuffed paratha. And there we have our finished product, stuffed keema paratha. A nice condiment with this would be, if you like, is a little bit of mango chutney, but I've just put a little bit of salad dressing there because we're going to tuck into it now, and I'm going to cut this open to show you what it should look like inside.